You think the sperm whale is a whale? You're wrong. It's an oversized dolphin. It belongs to the suborder of toothed whales and is actually more closely related to dolphins than to blue whales. You think what's inside a sperm whale's head is a brain? Dead wrong. It contains a substance more valuable than gold. Even its excrement is worth a fortune, 20 times more expensive than gold. The existence of this creature is itself a mockery of the laws of physics. Let's start with its head, which baffles everyone. With a total body length of nearly 18 meters, its skull takes up a full 1/3 of that. Some might say, oh, so its brain must be huge, right? Wrong. What fills that giant head isn't a brain, but hundreds of liters of a mysterious oil called spermaceti. Because of it, humans nearly wiped sperm whales off the face of the earth. But the true purpose of spermaceti is far more bizarre than anyone could imagine. When a sperm whale begins to dive, it regulates its blood temperature to cool and solidify the spermaceti, increasing its density like a natural ballast stone to help them sink into the deep ocean. When it needs to resurface, it warms the oil back up, making it lighter to propel its massive, tens of tons body back up to the surface. Its head is an organic buoyancy regulator, with a precision that far exceeds any human engineering. Next are its lungs. After diving to a certain depth, the sperm whale's lungs will gradually compress and collapse under water pressure. Yes, you heard that right. Its ribs can fold inward like a folding door, squeezing air into the trachea and air sacs for storage to prevent nitrogen from dissolving into the blood, avoiding decompression sickness, the ultimate dread of divers. Meanwhile, its heart rate plummets from dozens of beats per minute down to just a few beats per minute, plunging the entire body into an energy-saving mode akin to suspended animation. Nature spent tens of millions of years re-engineering a whale into this form. Would marvel at it in awe. Now, let's talk about its most chilling ability, sound. The sound emitted by a sperm whale can reach over 230 decibels. For comparison, a human eardrum ruptures at around 150 decibels. Our normal conversation is only 60 decibels. Free divers have described that when a sperm whale clicks nearby, they can feel the sound waves vibrating right through their chest, as if being punched hard from inside their own body. It is one of the loudest animals on Earth, but the true purpose of this sound isn't to kill. In the pitch-black ocean depths of 3,000 meters, sperm whales use these sound waves to see the world. With every click emitted, the sound waves hit the prey and bounce back, and its brain constructs in the darkness a highly precise 3D map. The prey's size, distance, and direction of movement are completely under its control. It is seeing with its ears, not its eyes. This fact is more mind-blowing than any science fiction. What it hunts is the giant squid, a deep-sea behemoth with tentacles extending over 10 meters, and suckers lined with sharp teeth. No human has ever witnessed this battle, but the body of every adult sperm whale is heavily scarred with circular sucker marks left by giant squids. Those are two titans of the abyss, in places humans can never reach, locked in a battle that has raged for millions of years. Having talked about its body, let's talk about its soul. Sperm whales live in matriarchal family groups where grandmothers, mothers, daughters, and sisters collectively raise the offspring, passing traditions down through generations. When predators approach a calf, adult females instinctively form a circular formation, tails out, heads in, shielding the calf while repeatedly slapping the water. Even killer whales are left completely helpless against this formation. Yet, what silences scientists the most is their language. Sperm whales communicate using sequences of clicks called codas, those rhythmically complex sounds are somewhat like Morse code. Sperm whales from different oceans have entirely different dialects. The Pacific population and the Caribbean population cannot understand a word the other is saying. And more importantly, it takes a very long time for a young calf to learn how to click properly. Before that, they babble, just like human babies. In 2021, scientists launched a project using artificial intelligence to analyze thousands of hours of whale recordings in an attempt to translate their language. The research revealed that the complexity of their language and the sophistication of their communication system are mind-blowing. We spent centuries hunting them, yet never even understood what they were saying. In the 19th century, humans pushed sperm whales to the brink of extinction, all just for the waxy oil inside their heads, which was used to make candles, lubricate machinery, and light up entire cities. Whaling ships set sail from America, Britain, the Netherlands, and Japan, hunting them across the world's oceans for over 2 centuries. It is estimated that over 1 million sperm whales died at the hands of humans. 1 million lives, with families, heritages, and complex communications. It wasn't until 1986 that the international whaling ban finally took effect. And after that, when scientists dove into the ocean to get close to them, these animals did not flee, nor did they attack. They swam over, slowly circling around the humans, scanning the unfamiliar visitors with sound waves, and then quietly paused right there, looking at you. A creature possessing the largest brain on Earth, after enduring centuries of slaughter, chose to face us with curiosity rather than rage. One last thing concerning its death. When a sperm whale dies, its massive body slowly sinks to the ocean floor. Scientists call this a whale fall. The body of a single whale can sustain thousands of organisms in the pitch-black deep sea for up to a century. This is the sperm whale, the most generous life on Earth. We once emptied out their heads to light lamps and illuminate cities. Yet when we finally laid down our harpoons and dove into their world with curiosity, they did not flee, nor did they attack. They turned around, scanning our bodies with sound waves, trying to understand what we are. Perhaps the deep sea has never lacked light. What it lacks is our ability to look up and see it. The ones truly living in darkness have never been the whales, but ourselves. Let me give you a few words. Sky, apex predator, massive bird. What is the first thing that comes to your mind? An eagle, right? But let me tell you, compared to it, an eagle is just a baby. Have you ever seen this picture? This is its actual size. It is called the Argentavis, a creature that truly existed 6 million years ago. Today, I am going to tell you that everything you think you know about birds might be completely wrong. In 1980, paleontologists in La Pampa province, Argentina, in a remote and desolate geological stratum, dug up some fragmented pieces of bone. They were scattered all over, without a single piece intact. The bones were as thin as paper, and would crumble at a touch. But it was this pile of fragments that sent a thrill through the entire paleontological community, because they calculated a number, a wingspan of 7 meters. What does 7 meters mean? How wide is your living room? For most people, it doesn't exceed 5 meters. Yet a single wing of this bird unfolded to over 3 meters, making a combined wingspan of 7 meters, equivalent to the wingspan of a light aircraft. What's even more absurd is that it weighed about 70 kilograms, stood at nearly 1.8 meters tall, and had a body length of 5 meters. Even if it folded its wings, it would take up more space than a compact pickup truck. And this is currently just the most conservative estimate. Of course, sheer size alone isn't enough to make it a legend. There is only one question about Argentavis that truly drives scientists crazy. How on earth did something so heavy manage to fly? According to the principles of normal avian flight, once body weight exceeds a certain limit, no matter how large the wings are, they cannot provide enough lift to take off from a standstill. The ostrich is a prime example. Its ancestors used to be able to fly, but as they flew, they grew heavier, could no longer fly, and simply kept their wings as decorations. Yet the Argentavis did not give up on the sky. It chose a much smarter path. A study by Sankar Chatterjee, a scientist at the University of California, Berkeley, revealed this secret. Argentavis didn't rely on flapping its wings to take off at all. It relied on external forces, just like a glider. It would walk to the edge of a high slope, run into the wind to gain momentum, and at a speed of about 40 kilometers per hour, leap off. Once the wind hit, it spread its wings and soared. What does this speed mean? The world's fastest human sprinters reach a top speed of about 37 kilometers per hour. In other words, the takeoff speed of this bird was faster than a human 100-meter champion sprinting at full power. Once airborne, it truly became the master of the sky. It relied on rising thermal currents created by the sun heating the ground, climbing as if riding an elevator, and then gliding extensively at high altitudes, hardly needing to flap its wings. Scientists estimate that its range for a single flight could cover about 500 kilometers, an area larger than most cities. Its wingspan area exceeded 8 square meters. So, what did it eat? This is one of the most highly debated questions about Argentavis. Early on, seeing how massive it was, scientists immediately imagined a scene of it, swooping down, snatching an antelope with its talons, and carrying it away. But fossils presented them with a reality. Its lower jawbone was not robust, making it unsuited for tearing into tough, large prey. Thus, scientists began to reevaluate this ruler of the sky, and the answer was somewhat surprising. It was highly likely an opportunist, feeding primarily on carcasses of already dead animals. Much like modern vultures, it would circle high in the air. With vision even sharper than an eagle's, it could spot carrion on the ground from several kilometers away. Scientists even believe it possessed an extremely acute sense of smell, capable of catching the scent of buried animal carcasses a kilometer away. But it wasn't just a scavenger. Fossil evidence shows that its legs were strong and powerful. Paleontologists surmise that it would sometimes hide on the ground, wait for small prey to approach, suddenly rush forward, and swallow it whole with its massive mouth. Its mouth could stretch incredibly wide. An adult rabbit would be nothing more than a single bite to it. It needed to consume at least 2 to 5 kilograms of meat every day. To maintain this food intake, having a massive territory was absolutely essential. A patrol circle of 500 kilometers ensured it always had a meal. Beyond that, relying on its massive size, it would occasionally steal food. At the time, the Argentine pampas were home to a group of mammals called Thylacosmolus. The name sounds menacing, but in reality, they weren't very large. Argentavis would descend from the sky, pounce down, and snatch their prey away. Thylacosmolus was utterly powerless to fight back. This was absolute domination. Did it fear anyone? It feared virtually nothing. In Argentina 6 million years ago, the apex land predators weren't lions or leopards, but a group of large, flightless birds called terror birds. The largest among them, Titanus, stood over 2.4 meters tall and could weigh up to 350 kilograms. It was the most terrifying presence on the pampas back then. Argentavis and the terror birds were the two ultimate rulers of the Argentine pampas 6 million years ago. One ruled the sky while the other dominated the ground. What happened when the two crossed paths? Scientists surmise that Argentavis would most likely give the terror birds a wide berth. Not out of fear, but because there was no need to take the risk. After all, its wings were its lifeline. If it got injured, it would truly be left with nothing. As for other mammals, before Argentavis, they were basically either food or just bystanders. Then how did it disappear? This is one of the mysteries that baffles paleontologists the most. Roughly 5 million years ago, just during the transition from the late Miocene to the Pliocene, Argentavis suddenly vanished from the fossil record. There was no obvious volcanic eruption, no meteorite impact, and no visible mass extinction event. The currently most accepted hypothesis points to a slow but fatal climate change, global cooling. As the Earth's temperature dropped, prehistoric Argentina's warm, dry environment, with its abundant thermal currents, began to vanish bit by bit. For ordinary animals, this might have just meant changing coats, but for Argentavis, it was total devastation. As thermal currents weakened, the atmospheric elevator it relied on to fly disappeared. The larger the body size, the heavier the dependence on air currents. Without those currents, it lost everything. The sky was once its gift, and ultimately it became its cage. I've always felt that the story of Argentavis holds a kind of cruel beauty. It was the heaviest flying bird ever to walk the earth, with a 7-meter wingspan and a lifespan of decades, ruling the skies with no natural enemies. Yet it staked its entire existence on those rising thermal currents. As long as the wind was there, it could fly. The moment the wind stopped, it was nothing. It brings to mind a saying, true strength is never about being flawless, but about knowing how to coexist with your environment. Argentavis ruled the skies for millions of years, only to lose to the climate in the end, losing to a cooling shift that no one could have predicted. But it truly did fly once, its wings unfurling to blanket half the sky. 6 million years later, we dug up its fragmented bones, pieced its form back together, and looked up at the sky, feeling a strange sense of profound awe. That sky, it once flew there,